What's up, y'all?
Hello.
Soph is out of breath.
No, I'm not.
Is it your heart?
No,
Because that's what we're talking about today.
I can't talk loud still because of my neck.
Oh, so we're about to get into the details of Soph's heart surgery, what happened, what we're doing going forward. You could potentially have surgery again, but we'll get into that. So
yeah. And the only reason I'm dressed up right now is because, y'all, I thought, we'll get into this again, but I thought I would be completely fine right after the surgery. So we like scheduled things, like we went on the news this morning and I was fine to do it.
Like our local news?
Local news.
We're not good enough for Good Morning America quite yet.
I was fine to do it, but like realistically, if I would have known the recovery was gonna be like this, I probably wouldn't have agreed to doing it just yet. And so I had to get all ready this morning. That's why I'm ready. But if it weren't for that, I would be couch potato.
She genuinely is a rock star, like complete
sweet.
Rock star. Okay, so we're gonna walk you guys through the surgery, what happened.
Okay.
So I'll kick it off.
I would start with how we woke up and it was a bad morning.
Yeah, we woke up, we were running late. Soph was
morning of the surgery.
Yeah, morning of the surgery. Soph was stressed. We thought Mary Marin was sick for a little bit.
She woke up the
and
night.
she could have been sick.
She woke up the night before throwing up. Like it wasn't spitting up. She was like throwing up. I think it's because she ate too much the day before. Long story. So we thought she was sick. So we had to we were running late because my parents, they had to go get her like medicine. I woke up with like a massive clogged duct and body aches. So I was like, this may be mastitis. I didn't have a fever though. I didn't check, but I didn't feel like I had a fever. So I don't know. Could have had mastitis. Don't know. Keep in mind, I was about to go sit in surgery for hours and not be able to pump or feed.
Yeah, that would make it about 100 times worse.
And like laying on your back doesn't allow things to flow properly.
I was scared for you in that moment because I was just like that amount of time without pumping on top of already being like messed up is not good.
So that was just the bad start to the morning, but it was fine. Like I was staying really positive. I wasn't like
you were you were handling it really well. I think that was because you were a little nervous, so it kind of took off the.
I was more focused on other stuff.
Yeah.
So we get there at 10:30. That's when I was supposed to be there. We got there like right on time, and they didn't end up calling me back till what 11:30 to 12. Call me back. So this part you weren't there for, so I'll just give a rundown. They called me back. I had to change, and I included this in our last YouTube video. I tried to film a little bit because they let me bring my phone back, post it on TikTok and in our last YouTube video. I filmed a little bit. I had to put on a hairnet, gown, all that stuff. I sat there and I met with like a couple different doctors, anesthesiologist, all of them. They were just giving me the rundown. I ended up having to pump again because of how long it took for me to go back. I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and pump before I go back. And it was hurting. I wasn't getting anything out of one side because when you have a clogged duct, it doesn't really come out. It needs to, but it won't come out. So anyways, I sat there for a while. Okay, and then they take me to this room. I'm just gonna do this really quick because it's only interesting. Like I have the picture in my head, but y'all aren't gonna know what I'm talking about. They take me to the operating room. They covered my whole body. Literally, I don't think you could see any of my skin with like stickers, like big stickers like this big.
I remember you telling me that.
And they were like, cool. They were like, this is gonna be freezing. So it's like they pulled them out of a freezer. And they were like this big, and they would wrap one here, and they're all wired up there. I mean, I'm covered from head to toe. Okay, and I'm laying there, and then they're like, next thing you know, you're gonna feel like you go on a roller coaster. And I was still there.
I haven't even heard this. Shoot.
Really?
You didn't tell me this. So
it's been a whirlwind. The bed under me blows up into like an air mattress. I kind of
you did.
And it somehow I like transfer to another table, and then they're like, all right, the table's gonna start warming up, and then it's warming up under me, and I'm like, okay. And the next thing you know, like, you know, whatever, I'm sitting there, and then they're like, okay, we're just gonna put this over you to give you some oxygen. And I was like, is this the stuff that's gonna make me go to sleep? Like, I didn't know. And someone comes in and they're like, so what's your baby's name? Like, when's her birthday? And I'm like, I'm like, why are they asking me questions? I can't like respond to them.
Were they starting to give you the gas?
Yes, but they didn't tell me that. Like they wanted me to think I was fine. So that's why they were asking me questions, because they wanted to know like how aware I was of what was going on. But in the moment, I was like, I can barely answer what you're asking me. Like, I'm sorry. I was trying to respond. And the next thing you know, I'm out. So they didn't like make me count down or anything.
Dang, the countdown's always the best. Guys, if you've had surgery before, or if you haven't, sometimes when they'll put you to sleep, they'll go, okay, we're gonna start counting down. And you'll go 10, 9, 8. And then
you got electrocuted.
You're gone. You're out. Next thing you know, you're opening your eyes and you're on the other side, aka out of surgery. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. Like, that's cool. It's cool to me. Cool. I've never made it to the end of the countdown though.
Keep in mind, y'all, okay, before going into the surgery, I thought they were gonna go in, for those who don't know, it wasn't open heart surgery or anything, it was an ablation, and they were gonna go in through, okay, it's your groin, it's not your leg, it's your groin. They were gonna go in, and so that's why I was like, my recovery's gonna be fine. Like, they're gonna poke me. The scar isn't even gonna be noticeable for how little it is. I was like, how am I gonna be sore? I'm gonna be fine. Like, I'll be able to go do whatever. And realistically, you can pretty much go about your normal day to day. It's not that bad. But anyways, I thought they were gonna go in one spot. I was like, it's gonna take an hour. I was thinking they weren't actually gonna keep me originally overnight in the hospital. They were gonna let me go back to my hotel as long as like Taylor, my parents were there. And I thought I was just gonna be fine. Like, and then I was like, I thought thought we could have driven all the way back home.
Yeah.
The drive is 4.5 hours from there to home, but that's not what it ended up. So when I woke up, I wasn't fully there, but I was so confused because I woke up at like 8 p.m. So the day was like almost over. They were like, you're staying the night in the hospital. I was so loopy. I was like, where's Mary Marin gonna be? It was just so confusing. I think I just got so thrown off. And anyways, they ended up going in both sides and then in my neck. So that's what caused like recovery to be way more hard, I guess, than I was
went
expecting.
in 3 spots rather than just one.
Yeah.
So the surgery started at 1 p.m. And we thought it was gonna start a little earlier.
10:30.
Yeah, 10:30. It took a lot longer than expected. But yeah, it started at 1 p.m. and it lasted, I think, right at 6 hours, if not a little over, which is insane because I was thinking, my mom actually had an ablation before and it took, I don't think it took that long. So
typical ablations don't take that long.
like 2 to 4, I think, is like the pretty much normal. So once we started getting to the 5 and even 6 hour mark, I was so stressed. I mean, I was pacing the halls, and I actually filmed a TikTok talking about like how much anxiety. But I knew Jesus had her protected and was guiding the hands of the doctors and all that. So Soph gets done at surgery about 8. I don't get to see her till 9. And when I first walk in there,
we didn't include this in the YouTube video because I looked scary.
If y'all saw the YouTube video, it was like Soph had to get some rest. It was crazy. I walked in there and I was expecting, because the whole time, like Soph said, I thought it was just gonna be she's awake, she's fine.
I thought it would wear off pretty quick.
Rock and roll. I walk in there, it is like Soph is not alive. Like,
and I don't remember being in this room. You know how you can remember bits and pieces? I don't remember anything.
It was genuinely a scary movie. I was like, Soph, like,
tell them what I was doing.
She was not talking at all, and she was just going, and it was like she was frozen in time, eyes wide. Like, I don't even know.
Was I asleep?
No, like, because I would be like, you wouldn't answer anything at all, but I'd be like, do you miss Mary Marin? And you go, and barely move her head, so I knew she was there. And then she'd wake up, it was like she'd have a little spurt. She'd wake up for like 10 seconds out of this trance and be like, I have to pee, and she'd start literally crying.
Wait, so is this, okay, so then
that's when all that started.
Okay, so keep in mind, I started saying I have to pee, right? Okay, so then they moved me to a different room. This is the room I stayed the night in. And this is where I remember bits and pieces. Barely remember, y'all. I was out of it for like 24 hours. Like, even when we got home, I'm still like not even remembering. Like, seriously. Of course, I'm gonna let you tell the majority of the story because I wasn't fully there, but I do remember. I don't remember if I was screaming or what, but I was saying, imagine feeling like you have to pee so bad. Not just like I have to pee, like you literally can't hold it.
Yeah.
But you can't pee. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Obviously, my body, looking back, was still asleep. Like, that part of my body hadn't woken up.
So you
to
could
allow
use
myself.
those muscles.
I was pushing, I remember. I mean, I barely remember, but I was pushing so hard. I think was I screaming?
She was, at one point, all the nurses and doctors and stuff came in, and Soph just starts screaming at them. She goes, UTI, 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 UTI.
Tell what a UTI is if they don't know.
So
urinary tract infection.
Yeah, so she's more prone to them, that when she doesn't use the bathrooms, like on car ride and stuff, we have to stop more frequent. And so it was the craziest thing. She was just like, UTI, UTI.
Because it felt,
and all the nurses and doctors didn't know what to do. They all just started looking at each other.
Well, they kept telling me to pee. They kept telling me to pee.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot pee. Obviously, if I could pee, I would pee.
So, long story short, they ended up placing a catheter. Soph got to pee.
While I was awake, and I was freaking out about that.
So, all that happened. Soph recovered in the hospital. Y'all saw in the YouTube video.
A lot happened here and there. I had like my first panic attack ever, and I'm not typically like that.
It was just a longer recovery than expected. But to get into details of her specific heart surgery, the next day the doctor came in, the next morning actually, told us the details of Soph's heart surgery. And basically, Soph has an extra electrical pathway in her heart, and that extra pathway runs over her AV node, which is the main electrical pathway.
And I had told y'all previously that we thought it was going to be very close to the AV node. We just never knew because no one has actually gone in and looked. So we knew we weren't going to know that until they went in, but we thought it would be close. But then we found out it was on top.
And so since it was on top, he wasn't able to burn the
part that was touching the node.
Yeah, the whole extra electrical pathway without hurting the AV node, which is needed. And so
he tested it.
He tested it, and it showed that more than likely it would cause harm to the AV node, which would in turn cause her to get a pacemaker. So he steered away from that, but there is still 5% remaining, because he obviously didn't burn it, of that extra pathway. And so that's what makes it possible that Soph could still experience symptoms. He said
unlikely.
Yeah, he said it's extremely unlikely. The odds are about 95% that she doesn't experience any symptoms, and 5% she does, which would in turn require another surgery. But with that being said, then you have to get to the, weighing the risk versus reward.
How bad would my symptoms be?
Exactly. Is it worth potentially getting a pacemaker?
Yeah.
And having that procedure done.
And one thing he did tell Taylor, I don't remember this, but apparently he told Taylor it could have ended up becoming like pretty bad down the road.
So he said right now, like we had already told you guys, it wasn't of super concern. It caused Soph during pregnancy. It caused Soph to pass out and stuff like that, but it wasn't
life-threatening.
Life-threatening. But the doctor said that as fast as her heart rate had gotten during surgery, that if she would have gone on later in life with this condition untreated and no surgical procedure, then it could have been a life or death thing, because once you're 40, 50, 60, 70
you're not that
and go on, your heart isn't that strong, and so if it's beating 240 beats per minute, that could cause you to go in cardiac arrest and pass away. So he said this was definitely needed. Like, you didn't have an option, because later in life it literally could be a life or death thing. So super serious. We're praying Soph isn't in that 5% where we have to have another surgery or anything like that.
Best doctor ever.
Best
he didn't
doctor
do
ever.
Like when we say like, oh, things took longer than expected, nothing about him. It was just we didn't know. They say an ablation can take anywhere from 2 to 8 hours. We just thought it's gonna be easy, go in. So nothing went wrong. He did amazing.
Yeah.
Like no complaints there. I'm so thankful that like he
explained things
and he took precaution and was like, I'm not gonna do that because that could cause pacemaker.
And
like,
the way he put it was, I am only gonna perform a procedure how I would perform it on my daughter, which was, you want to hear that from your doctors.
So
it was amazing. But that's kind of our plan going forward.
And I put it in a little highlight on my Instagram. I answered just some like little questions here and there, like kind of more about the little details that we don't have time to share on this. But if you go to my Instagram, it's like in a highlight that's just titled with a heart. You can go over there and like find out some more little details. I answered some, but that's the most part.
But guys, Soph is a rock star. She hasn't slowed down really at a minute.
There's my neck. I don't know if you can see. The scars should be so little that you won't even be able to see them. But mainly recovery's just been so sore. It's just hard when it's right there, like where you use your legs to walk.
Yeah.
You can't move, but we're all good.
All good. She is a complete rock star. She has not slowed down for a minute. So comment down below, Soph is a rock star. Show us some support. We love you guys. We love Jesus, and we'll catch y'all on the next vid. Taylor and Soph,
Out.